Hey Glass, I hope you've done your homework from last week, so we're whatever. Just joking. So this blade is in. If you haven't seen that video, check out the channels, go subscribe it to learn more on alias modeling. If you don't want to, you're free to do whatever you want. But for the ones who want to learn something, let's jump back in. And as I said in my last video, let's get this detail in here. And for that, I want to do the following thing. Take the graphic, I'll project it, I'll generate a surface going from roughly here in, trying to emulate what the data is doing in there, the scan, or whatever you want to call it. And then we can also bring this blade in and do some radii there, and that's more or less it. We'll keep it nice and flexible, because if later on we want to adjust these, I want to keep the history on most of it so we can work with it easily and don't waste too much time, you know? So that's the way I want to do it, and this is how I'm going to do it. If you don't like it, let me know. If you like it, stay tuned. So I'll bring in the side projection curves, and those are the ones that I'm interested in. These ones. I want these 4 surfaces. This is what we will be working with. So let's do a side projection of those. That's it. Now I want to get my mesh in and see what that does there. And we can see we've got this nice blade here. So we're going to work with that. And if we make these transparent, so shading off, you'll see what I meant before. Let's turn on here the sections, and I'll go with Z for this purpose. And you see here we are getting in there, we're very similar, and then it's turning in there. So what I want to do is I'll get one nice fit curve on there. We'll delete the history on that, move it forward, and then what I want is, give or take, this area like this. I'll drop curve surface on that surface there, and what I'll do is blend its curvature on the curved surface side, and of course it's going to be curvature on the curve there, not. And you cannot get a curvature connection on of a surface on a curve, because you need another surface to connect to, you know, to get that alignment in. So this needs sections as well. Let's take the whole of that curve and let's move it normal in. You see those sections moving in. And that's about it. That does it. We're hitting it there. We're roughly hitting it at the bottom. And if we're not, let's do a nice trick there. We'll turn that surface a little bit more in that area. And what we can do as well is take this curve and move it rearward a little bit to give it more space. There we go. That's even better on those sections there. That's cool. Now that we've got all that in, here's the fun part. Let's do these. That blade there, that feature there, those surfaces in there, and then we can drop in some nice radii, and that's more or less it. So Go from that Y direction, stretch it up, and let's turn on here the sections in on the x-axis. There we go. It's interesting that the blend fuller. So we're on the sections there, more or less. But that is a lot flatter. So let's adjust that. So let's bring on the side wireframe. That curve there. Now this CV. Move in a little bit. We can turn it into a degree 4. We can flatten this area ever so slightly. So that's good. Now let's move this curve even more rearward. This is the area I'm looking for. That's already taking care of some of that section work there. Let's try this. Let's reduce those there. And what I want to do is work a little bit with shape. Since that's not doing it, what I want to do is I will unfortunately have to get rid of the history and align that. So I'll align the blend curvature to the big body side surface. And what I'll do, pull those back a little bit, pushing the sections in. And I'll get these working like this. That curve. Oh, let's hide away the side wireframe. That curve we don't need anymore. That. Can move the pivot down there and non-proportional scale it. Rotate it a little bit. Let's move that out. You see at the bottom we're again too much inboard. That does it. And what I want to achieve here is the following thing. We're sitting quite good there. So I'll make that slightly negative. So let's get that in there. Move this up here, bring it out. That's about it. The reason why I'm doing that is I want to get that accelerating towards that shape there. Now I'll run this based on that. Through. Or, yeah, let's do it like that. And get this running through based on that. Make a fit curve there, because I want this to be the main driving surface. And that will be adjusted to it. So we'll get one rail in there. to make this curvature connected there. And then let's go ahead and do the same thing at the top. Get it in there. Rotate it 180 degrees on the y-axis. One last piece here. What I'll do, I'll fit curve that. Take this surface here. Move that curve there. And I'll build a blend between them. It's just easier this way. So we're getting these in here. We can delete this bit. Oh, discard that area there. Same here. And these two for the moment. And build a big surface off of that. So I'll build profile of those two frame surface on that line there. And I'll offset that by, let's say, 30 to have some kind of a pocket looking thing in there. Discard that, discard that. And these, I'll use a tool or offset to get in a 12 mil piece of that surface. So I'll keep these two bits. That's it. That's working, kind of. So let's bring back the mesh. Got that in there. Let's rotate this even more. So it doesn't really want to work. So there are other ways to get this working. So let's try those as well. What we could do is take that surface there, this one here, this one, and generate a line going this way. Project that on the side view onto that. Let's untrim these. Build blends. So we go from curvature to position. And we can click on default. Same here. Let's see how those work. somewhat closer. So we could take this approach and bring the CV down, move the car forward. So that works pretty well. On that side. Let's do it on this side as well. And you see these highlights, there's something I would like to avoid, like that light to go through from here to here. So I took a short break and I did install the Learning Edition of 2025. This way you will be able to see the commands that I'm using and not my shortcuts. This will slow me down, but it will help you learning. And I did do the upper side as well. We just broke off doing the lower side, so blend here and a surface derived of that. And I'd let you guys do that and fill up that hole there. Now you see these are not lining up that well, and I don't consider that as being a big problem, because what I will do is later on I'll just extend this through till it hits that backing surface that I've done there. So let's keep on going. We've got a side wireframe, we've got that surface there. That looks good. This is piercing through, but once everything is done, we'll chop it off. So the next bit that we want to do is this blade here. So let's jump in and do that nice little piece of surfacing delight. We've got the mesh, got that in there. Looks pretty decent. So what I'll do is I'll pick this curve, I'll pick this object, and then go onto display and click on visible. Oh, display invisible. And then I'll go back to layouts, display, and toggle visibility. This switches between the two things that we're displaying, the invisible and the visible stuff. So there we go. That looks good. Now what I want to do is I will take that curve and I will move its pivot here. On the curve and move the curve up. We see direction is not the best, so I will non-proportional scale it in Z till it kind of hits those theory areas. And what I'll do, I'll copy paste it and move that down there. And then I'll take that curve and move it even more. There we go. And this one I'll proportional scale it so it gets thinner towards the end. That's how it looks in the mesh model there. And we can go into our palette and go into object edit, and look for extend. I want this palette moved to the old location the way I had it there. So let's look for that. I'll bring it up here. Side. So this looks more familiar. So go with merge, so it doesn't create an extra one. And then we'll extend these two back up to that point there, where the blade is ending. This one goes more forward. This one a little bit more rearward. Okay. Now let's drop a surface between those two, and what I'd like to do is a skin. So shift click that little button there, which brings me up the options, construction options. So let's see what we've got there. Looks more appropriate. Let's add some curvature to it. Let's turn on the controls. What I like to do is, instead of being a uniform arc, what I will do is I will make it have some acceleration to the sides. This will always help with the radii going that way. So let's see the sections. There we have it. So let's take this surface. Let's get some sections on it. And let's get these a little bit closer. Now let's also go to draw precision. And then let's look at these. And let's look at the lines so that they look better. As you probably noticed, I haven't done this in quite a while, so I'm trying to figure out how to make this look better. Let's move these in. I'll use the CV move tool for that. So here in transform CV, and go normal. It's a nice quick jump. I'll go with a more subtle movement. So the sensitivity is set up to be higher, which allows me to move these points a bit easier, not so fast in one go. Now let's take these curves and do a degree 3 there. Let's take these CVs. And we can flatten that a little bit. You see here we're getting close. Here we're behind that mesh model there. So if we pull this out, getting closer there, then we're deviating there as well, which indicates that we've got a bit of an odd shape there. Pull this one in a little bit, so it generates a bit of a twist there. This one out. And now we're resembling a lot more to the mesh. There we go. And over here, we're going to do it. We're going to build these a little bit different compared to what we've done up there. We will do some nice surfaces running along that line and that one. Then we will add radii between the base surface and those surfaces. So let's jump in and do that. So we will go to curves. I will take a new CV curve, set it up over there, run it in the Y direction, and then move the CV a little bit up. Then I'll do a monorail that's under surfaces, and it's rail surface. So that one along the projected curve. Got one generation curve, one rail curve. Let's jump in and do that. Take the CV and move it inward and up. The surface here. And go into our cross sections there. The same ones. There we have it. And we can compare these. here we're fine. Here we are a little bit below, and then more and more. This might indicate that this surface, the base surface, is twisting there. So we could query edit that. So that's Control Shift and the middle mouse button if you are on the default presets. And since I've reinstalled Alias like this brings me to that situation there. And you see now I've added that twist in there, and we are getting there. But I'm not a fan of this. To be honest, I don't like it at all. But let's see. This brings us. Well, one thing is for sure, we'll have a nice transition here all the way through, because the intersection with the base surface is also pretty nice. Once we will have a nice core following that intersection. Normally your core in a radius always follows the intersection between the main surfaces there. And let me show you an example of that. So let's go ahead and build fillet between that surface and that one. And click this one, go with default so it doesn't overbuild, it doesn't crash our system. So we'll go with coral, and then we'll go G2, both sides, the form factor of 1, click this one, make sure the arrows are pointing out, and there you go. That is what I was saying. The intersection was pretty nice and clean, so the radius will be also pretty clean. Now, you will notice that we are far away from the size of the radius that we had in there. So click this and this once again. Maybe this one. Pointing out on both. Let's go with a smaller one. Well, the reason why it's not building it is that it's becoming bigger and bigger. Let's see what our mesh is doing there. I think it's pretty good. You see here we are below that. Well, here we are pretty good with our surfaces. So I will stick with my surfaces. Intention here is actually to show how we build things. And as I said in the earlier videos, I don't fully trust this mesh model. I'm not so keen on a geometry where you see that this is deeper in compared to the upper area. Normally they're nicer if these run in one line. It's a cleaner sculpture, to put it that way. This hole this way is deeper than this one, so I choose to stick with my instinct here. and build it as I see that it might be better. If I do this, I would need to either generate a second surface here to get to this level, or twist this one out. And for the moment, I'll stick with one surface because it's just easier to manage at this point. So let's hide away the mesh. That seems like a decent size. So I'll keep that as an example there, because what we will be doing is at some point when we commit to all of this, this should work neatly. So let's go ahead and take this one. Yeah, works well. Let's see if we can go also with this one. So query add this one to the equation as well. There we go. Now start, we'll go all the way to extend and update. There we go. And then we will have to fill in the blank here, which is going to be nice. But I will want to keep the history on this, so what I will do is the following thing. Take this surface. I will go into surface edit, and I'll project in Z onto that surface this curve here. And this will allow me to get different curve in here. And bring it to that intersection point, bring it all the way up here, and continue with this through to generate 4 sides that we need to get this curve in here. So let's go get a curve, put that in here, and I'll pick this curved surface, and we can delete it. Then I'll go back into projecting. But first, I'll generate a second curve there. Get all the way here. It will become degree 2. And we will project this in the side view. So onto that surface, in the y direction, this curve here. Now you see we have a tangent break, so that line doesn't continue in all the views. So what we will do for that is go into Object Edit and align that curve to that fillet using the tangent setting. So Object Edit, align, double click that, go G1, that's tangent, that line onto this fillet here. So this will now allow us to hide these away. And before we hide them away, let's project onto that surface this curve and hide these two away. Now we can go and build here in rail 2 generations and 2 rail curves. So the 2 generations would be these ones, and the rail curves are this curve here, and the other one would be that curved surface there. So let's query edit this. So we'll set generation 1 on as being curvature. Rail 2 will be also set as curvature. We'll go into explicit control and get the numbers correct here. So we will do the generation as degree 5. The rail curve can stay for the moment as is. Now you will notice that here I didn't force it to become a curvature connection, because we will have a radius between this blade here and the main body surface, which means that we'll have to get that blend in there as well, make it correspond, and get these radii that we'll have here to run through and become bigger. So this is still kind of a base construction. Now let's go ahead and do the same here at the bottom. That will be good to have here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. So I'll see you back when I've got that in there. So as I said before, I've done this in a similar way like I've done the upper side. So let's finish this up by adding the last bit here. So what we need there is basically blend going from this surface to this one, as this one is intersecting that one. For that, we'll want to decide how big the blend is and then start building it. So let's bring up the mesh there. Let's look at that. It also shaded. So here we can see it's got a pretty short and steep transition. Let's look at net car show. Net car show is something looking a little bit different there, so the real deal is somewhat different. Or not. It's also a pretty short transition. So we've got that there. That's what I would say is our transition. This is what we're looking for. It's quite a short one as well. So let's go ahead and do that. And we see here that the radius there is a lot sharper on the real car and that one as well. This is quite generous. We could stick with what we have. The upper ones, the upper and lower ones, these could get somewhat smaller, so we get the same look. Also, if we peek through here, we'll see that it's not so round, it's more defined. So it could definitely go with a little bit smaller radii there. Not a lot, but somewhat smaller. This is pretty obvious here. So, thank God we kept most of our history, so we will be able to adjust these on the go. It's not going to be my intention to show you this, because it's not bringing you anything new. It's basically moving the projection line a little bit higher up, which will tighten that radius, and that's about it. Same here. Well, here will stay the same. So let's step back a little bit from all the stuff that we've done. Look at it. So we'll do a small transition here. Extend that through this one as well. We'll have the blend. We'll have one more patch here on each of those, and then that's setting the groundwork for that radius to run through. We don't need to measure that. We'll guesstimate here these things. I'll take that curve there. We'll move it here. Then copy paste it. Go back. And you see this intersection is pretty round. So it will help a lot if this is also round there. So let's get 3 in there. Take them 2 CVs. Center put around there. Non-proportional scale them in Z. And then move them in the Y direction. This will help us a lot. Okay, let's go back. I will untrim that surface. Just the last trim. There we go. Now let's project onto that surface this curve here. And then we'll take only, let's take that curve and make it rounder as well. Move the CVs up, back. Take that curve and move it forward a little bit. So that feels similar to what we've seen on the pictures online. Let's project into this surface this curve. And what we want to do is hide these curves away. And I will get some new curves in there. And run them like this. Copy paste it. Move it down here. And this will become degree 3 curves. Because I want to align these to that surface or the curve there, whichever curvature, and then we will scale these to 2 CV, so we'll call a patch that's slightly opening up towards the end there. So let's align these in the Object Modify tab, Object Edit. We'll go and align these G2. Curve to that surface there. This curve to this surface. Now we will scale them back a little bit. And these two, we will center the pivot between them. Non-proportional scale them in Z. So we've got a bit of that opening up. That's all we need. And now let's extend these back to here. This one to here. Take that CV and move it to that intersection point. This one to that intersection point. And now we can build a nice surface there, which we'll have to tweak because of that topology on this one, but nonetheless, it's a nice surface. So bi-rail again. Go to this one, that curve surface, this curve, and that curve. Now you notice we've got curvature there, but I said we need to blend the two. Now I wanted that to have that shape because of the trumpeting, but we can set this up, generation 2, as also as curvature. And we can go into the explicit control and turn the rail degree up to 5. We'll see the surface jumping out because it's keeping, let's say, the line, the design of that line, but it's not keeping the position, so it's moved out a little bit, which is fine because now what I want to do is take that curve back that we had there, go into making everything visible, and now we will project onto these two surfaces that curve. So we're trimming all three to the same line. Gonna make everything just somewhat easier. So these two curve. There we go. Now we can build via rail. With this curved surface, this curved surface, that edge of the rail, and the other curved surface there. And the same deal here. You can hide away all the curves. These ones as well. And we will see the final result there. So we've got that fading away nicely. Now, turn back shader model again. And let's trim this back. We'll keep that bit there. Then this one gets trimmed back as well. And these two, well, we will need them once we start adjusting everything, but all in all, we don't really need them. You will notice here a break that we can quickly adjust by working with a bigger degree on the rail number there. You see some of it disappears nicely. Same deal here. And now we see some dotted lines. That means that somewhere along the way, the connection got lost. So Let's untrim this surface. And you will see that this surface and this surface, they have returned to their normal full edges, so everything is fine. And now we can trim this back. We can see that we want to keep this. Turn off the model. This looks pretty nice. Let's save this up. And at the later stages, once we've done the major adjustments here, we can do the radii. So the little radii, how that ends and all that, we will define the later stage, because now we're locking in, see, the main volume of these details. Looking at this here, you can see that this is a different material, and all this materiality and all that we'll get in at the later stage. For me now, it's important to show you how we get these volumes in, how we get these connected up, how we make them work. And once we have that, we go into the finer details. You see, I haven't done this radius here, neither this one. And for this stage, they're not relevant. Though they will be relevant once we have the main thing finished up. And we start adding those details to bring in the life. We still need the mirrors, we need other things rather than those little details. Once we've got everything blocked in, we can jump in and do these things. So thank you for tuning in. Next up, we will have that area, and we will start working our way towards the rear here to get this corner nice and clean, get it looking similar to this here, so we can then blend it nicely. We can get these nice soft transitions. We've got this mainly in, so not too worried about that. Then we can get the rear lights in, finish this up. And once we've got all that finished up, we'll come to the front, finish some little detailing in here, and keep on going, getting all the radii in, getting all the details in, getting the volume ready to be parted into its constructing pieces, basically shut lines, and these things will be one of the last things we do on the exterior once we've got everything nailed in. So thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for those things to come, and stay curious and keep on learning, because you're doing it for yourself and you deserve this. Catch you later.